look at your ratings, you see that you have a 50% rating and another 50% rating, and maybe even an additional 10%. And somehow the VA says, well, that equals to 80%. Well, welcome to VA math. Yeah, it confuses everybody at first. And then you ask yourself, well, what happened to the other percentages? How does this even add up? Well, in this video, I'm going to try and explain to you how the so-called VA math works, why the percentages simply just don't add together, what rounding is all about, and how you can check and add up your ratings yourself. Many of the explanations online make this way more complicated than it needs to be. Now let's get this out of the way. I'm not a VA representative. I'm not a VSO. I'm not a rater. I'm just a veteran just like you trying to figure out the system on my own. So the first thing you have to understand is the VA uses what's called the whole person theory. Basically what that means is the VA assumes a healthy person starts out at 100% health. Every disability rating that you receive reduces what's left of that healthy percentage. The VA is not stacking your percentages together as you might think. They're subtracting disabilities from whatever healthy percentage remains. Once you understand this part, the rest starts to make a whole lot more sense. All right, so let's use a simple example of what I'm talking about. Let's say you have a rating of 50% and you have another rating for, well, something else. Your first thought might be, well, that should equal 100%, right? Well, no, that's not how the VA does it. The VA math says you start out at 100% health. Your first 50% disability removes half of that. So now you're considered 50% disabled and 50% healthy. Now let's add that second rating. Keep in mind the second rating does not apply against the original 100% health that you had. It applies to the remaining 50%. So since your remaining health is 50, 50% of that is 25. Now we combine the first rating of 50% with the second rating. 50% plus 25% equals 75%. And that's how your overall rating is calculated. So let's do another one. Let's say you have a rating of 70% and another 20%. Again, you're starting out at 100% health. The first rating of 70% leaves you with 30% health remaining. Now, the second rating of 20% is then subtracted from that 30% health remaining. So 20% of 30 is 6. So now, like before, we add the original 70% plus the 6%, and that equals 76% is your overall rating. Now that we have those ratings, we need to understand that the VA rounds to the nearest 10. So the 76% rating becomes 80% as it is rounded up. And likewise, our first example, your final rating was 75%, again rounding up to make your effective rating 80%. Now let's say, for the sake of argument, you had that original rating of 70%. Instead of the additional 20% rating, let's say it's 10%. Again, you have the original 70% rating, leaving 30% health remaining. 10% of the 30% remaining is 3. So now we add those two together. 70 plus 3 gives you 73%. So your total rating now is 70% plus 3%, or 73%. Rounding to the nearest 10 means we have to round down, leaving you at 70%. You lose that 3%. So now you can see how the VA calculates your disability percentages. Hopefully this gives you a better understanding of how future ratings may affect your overall percentage. It can help you determine whether adding additional claims or requesting increases could push you into the next bracket. As your overall rating increases to, let's say, 90% range, getting rating increases or new claims may not help you as much, as you only have 10% remaining to work with to start, right? It takes a high rating to have any meaningful effect. Now, you don't have to calculate your ratings manually every single time. There are VA disability calculators online that will do the math for you. There's actually an official VA calculator on the VA's website that'll help you get right on track. I'll put a link in the description below, or I'll have it on the screen here. About a quarter of the way down on that page, you'll find the calculator. Now, you do not have to sign in to get to this calculator. It's completely open. There's also a few veteran law firms out there that have calculators on their websites. These calculators are extremely useful because when you start adding multiple conditions together, it can get confusing. And then you have what's called bilateral factors and special condition factors. And these calculators can also help with that. Bilateral meaning, let's say you have an injury to both knees or both feet or both hands. That's considered bilateral. And these can add additional formulas and calculations to your ratings. So hopefully this video helps you understand the widely known VA math, and hopefully it made it a little bit less confusing for you. If this video does help you out, leave a comment below and subscribe. We've got a lot more content coming for the average veteran. Appreciate everyone watching, and I'll see you on the next one.